Welcome to the 90th podcast. 90 bobindy, banana fana fofindy, fee-fi mo mindy, 90. Hi, this is Lanadee. Welcome to the Dear Lanadee podcast. I hope our time together will put a smile on your face and hope in your heart. Do you have a problem or a situation that you'd like to talk about? Then this is the podcast for you. Where did our summer go? Fall has taken its place, and I, for one, love fall. The cool, crisp air, beautiful colored leaves. I'd rather be wearing a sweater any day than a bathing suit. I like covering up at night rather than running a fan in my face. But I must admit, there is a bit of sadness at putting away the charcoal grill and pontoon. My allergies have been horrible. I have always been one to ignore any symptoms, and I just keep pushing forward. But recently, just doing housework has caused me shortness of breath, so I went to the doctor. Of course I didn't. I did go to the medicine chest and pull out the medicine the doctor gave me before to use. You know, the medicine with all the warnings of sudden death or worse. I just had to do something, and rather than go to the doctor and admit that I hadn't tried the stuff he gave me before, I put it all together and tried it all. And guess what? I'm doing better. Shocker. The doctor did know what he was talking about. And I'm not dead. Not yet, anyway. Guess what? I actually went fishing for the second time this year. Michael and I had a great time, and we caught enough fish for supper that night. Speaking of Michael, he has lost 39 pounds, and he looks and feels great. In all seriousness, I am quite proud of him, and so glad he's been so successful. Michael's weight loss is great for his health, and I'm sure his cardiologist will be stunned when he sees him. His knees thank him. If you remember, Michael's had a double knee surgery a few years ago, but one of the surgeries failed, so he then had to have a total knee replacement on his right knee. He was really disappointed following that surgery because he was having so much pain. The doctor said it may be due to the fact that he has scar tissue from the previous surgery. But he is getting around so well now, and instead of becoming one with his chair while watching television all day, he is up and about, doing everything imaginable. And I believe his weight loss has played a major part in that. He just looks for things to do. I don't even want to mention my 14 pounds. But at least I'm headed in the right direction. One thing is true. I have had to seriously look at why my weight loss is so slow. I simply have not been as faithful as Michael has. When I have had a bad day, I reward myself just a little. If I've had a good day, I reward myself just a little. Let's just say eating a little bit more like Michael has made a difference. I'm a recovering emotional eater, you know, and I have to continue to tell myself nothing tastes as good as thin feels. After all, not everyone loses weight the same way, right? My sister-in-law, Linda. I talked with her one day. She'd never said a word to me about her diet. But my brother told me all about it, and she told me lots of salads. She looks great, lost over 25 pounds. Some need never diet. It's because obviously they live right, or they have better genes or a higher metabolism. I can't say I know why. But I think dieting has become an obsession with a lot of Americans. I read just yesterday that in every state there is an obesity problem. One only need turn on the television to know that. When I think about the fact that I lost 60 pounds and then put it back on, It breaks my heart. I am slow but sure. Not like Mighty Michael, but slow but sure. And I know doctors say you have to burn more calories than you have taken in each day, and for some of us, that is a struggle. I found this, and I thought it's so apropos, I want to read it to you. If walking is good to your health, the postman must be immortal. A whale swims all day, only eats fish, only drinks water, and is fat. A rabbit only eats vegetables, runs and hops all day long, and he only lives 5 years. A tortoise doesn't run at all, does nothing energetic, and lives for 450 years. Now, and you tell me to exercise? I don't think so. Well, we all know that's not the way it works. Everyone is different. Hey, I got a question about the last podcast, so I thought I'd share it with you. It's from my niece, Callie. She's brilliant. I don't mean just a little smart. Callie married her college professor, a physicist. Can you tell I'm proud of her? I still remember after one visit to my home, Callie's high school report card was somehow left behind. It must have fallen out of her mom's purse. The grades were all A's, with the exception of perhaps one B. I couldn't believe it. It brought tears to my eyes. After all, I'd heard of smart children like her, but I'd never met one. Callie wrote me after last podcast. Let me share her comments with you. Hey, this is your niece, Callie. Couple of comments, and you can take it or leave it on the topic of dieting. First of all, congratulations to Uncle Mike for losing weight. It's awesome that you are both thinking about your health. I know you've been doing so for a long time now. One thing I'll say is that when you have a large amount of weight to lose, making simple improvements to your diet will help you lose weight a lot more easily than when you have a small amount of weight to lose. Just my observation. Number 2, I have heard, I don't have evidence, that strength-building exercise will help you burn calories faster than cardio. Not that you shouldn't do cardio, because it's good for your lungs and heart, and you will burn calories as opposed to the exercising or to not exercising at all. And when it comes to resisting temptations, the thing that motivates me, although this doesn't work for everyone, is the fact that when I eat something really unhealthy, it makes me feel like crap. Callie, you are the lucky one. Your body is working with you. Mine says, more garbage, please. She continues to say, so later on, the flavor of the food is not the first thing that enters my mind when I see the food, but rather a sick feeling. Again, Callie, you're so lucky. Also, I'd like to hear your reasoning behind why you are aiming to reduce your carbs, because to me, I don't see that as the best way to go. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I have heard 2 main arguments for reducing carbs. Number 1, since carbs are your body's first source of energy, if you deprive your body of carbs, it will reach for your stored fat to burn as energy. Yes, Callie, that's the good thing. Number 2, excess carbs turn into fat. My issue with the second argument is that it takes an extremely large amount of carbs before it will turn into fat. I do not 100% buy the calories in, calories out mentality, because not only does your body use some of the calories for internal processes, which require energy, so you can't just count your daily activities as the only calories being burned, but your body also stores a certain amount of carbs that don't get turned into fat. I guess my point is the limit as to how much carbs your body can take in and either burn or store before it is in excess and is forced to turn into fat is a lot higher than people think. At least I believe so. I mean, have you ever heard of someone becoming fat from eating too many carrots? Now, when it comes to the first argument, I don't see how this is sustainable for most people. I think that it's perfectly natural that our bodies use carbohydrates as their main source of energy. I don't think our bodies are making a mistake and behaving badly for doing so. I think that the real question is, what type of food are the carbs coming from? Are they coming from food which is high in fat, highly processed, filled with chemicals, grown in a lab, lacking nutrients? All of these things, particularly food that is high in fat or foreign substances that aren't meant to be consumed, such as chemicals, will make you fat. Callie, I completely agree with you. In man's attempt or greed to make money, he has tampered with the very food we eat. Continuing with Callie's comment, personally, I also think that humans aren't meant to eat large amounts of meat. Protein is not a concern. You don't need a ton of it. Fruit and vegetables are primarily made of carbs, water, fiber, and vitamins and minerals. They are good for digestion, provide energy, provide hydration, nutrients, and don't make you fat. You're probably going to think I'm crazy, but I am becoming more and more convinced a high-carb, low-fat, vegan diet is the way to go. Callie, not crazy at all. There's wisdom there. Callie continues to say, I have both met in person and seen on the internet numerous people who have lost weight, cured health issues by eating this way. Not to mention the unethical treatment of factory farm animals, extra hormones and things added to such things as meat products, and studies have linked various diseases to eating meat. I will say I'm not 100% turned vegan because it can be difficult to be a purist for various reasons. Thank you for listening. I hope you do not get offended by this long comment. This is just a topic I've been really thinking about a lot over the past couple of years, and I'm interested in hearing your perspective on things. Thank you, Callie. I wish more people would write me. It would give me even better things to comment about. First of all, remember, there are no stupid questions, just a whole lot of things I don't have an answer for. And as far as length, look out. I am one wordy woman. You made good points, Callie, and I can only speak from my experience, and then I can give you comments from our doctor. You will never have a weight problem if you avoid bad foods. I wish I had realized how eating so poorly for so long would affect me, my husband, and sadly, my children. I feel guilty when I think about the fact that I've trained them all to eat poorly. When you're young, you can eat just about anything you want if you're active. But like it or not, we all slow down as we get older, and burning calories, fat, and fuel become a challenge. My experience is that food has definitely evolved when it comes to nutrition and, of course, processing and additives. I don't remember ever caring what I ate when I was young, but as I got older, I got in big trouble in the fact that I could eat as much sugar as I could get my hands on, and it has also been a fact that in my life, sugar makes me hungrier than before I ate it. Thus my slippery slope. Low carb. Let's talk about that. Yes, you have the principles of that diet correct. I began the diet because I was in a big rush to get off as much weight as I could to win a contest. But first I should tell you, no one knew I was even in the group that was working so hard at competing. I did it on my own while others were throwing money into a pool. I never told anyone. I was not about to be the only fat person in the office, and I did it with the diet I heard had the quickest, fastest results. There are groups of people on the low-carb diet who swear they will never go back to eating carbs. Facebook has one called Low Carb and Losing It. But as I was the heaviest ever, I was trying everything I could think of to lose. The low carb in its strictest form is 20 or less carbs a day. That's supposed to be the induction diet, where you start, but unfortunately there are people who stay that deprived at all times. I know I did try to. I never wanted to eat any carbs, and so all the carbs were accidental. Well, let's just say I couldn't help myself at times. I know the best thing I could do would be to cut out sugar altogether, but it's been the hardest thing for me. And back then I lost my 60 pounds. I gave up everything I held dear, fruits, vegetables, whole grains. But it wasn't long before I stopped, and I gained back all that weight. It was no fun, because I missed the other foods. Let's move on to the present, because I did so well last time, and the fact that the doctor told Michael many doctors are rethinking the carb versus fat approach to diet. I, of course, felt the guilt of eating a normal healthy diet. I had done it so long. But it is not the way to eat, in my opinion. Common sense has to come into play at some point. I also know I don't need a plate of pasta, potatoes, sugar-laden desserts, or a large glass of orange juice to be healthy. This is the type of foods I now limit. It's called lower carb, because we do burn through the carbs before getting to our fat, according to the doctor. I agree with the majority of what you have said. Our bodies need less fat, less animal, more fruits, grains, and vegetables. It's ridiculous to think eating all that meat and fat is good. I know of people personally who have gotten gout, gallstones, kidney stones, stomach trouble, to mention a few side effects, as a result of trying to do low carb, then failing and basically just eating more fat their bodies can handle. Little fat is burned because they're not doing low carb. Not really, just lower carb, thus eating way too much fat. I am now doing something different. Michael and I are trying to eat more of a Mediterranean diet, if you have to give it a name, which is what you and I agree is better. I call it a healthy diet. But Michael and I basically eat 2 meals a day. It works for us. He gets up a little later, as you know. So we eat around noon and again, between 4 and 6. And then we have a handful of nuts or a little yogurt at night. We are both losing. Like I said, I finally gotten over that 10-pound mark. Michael has lost a whole lot more. I'm happy with 14. He's much happier with his weight loss. It's hard for me to even imagine losing as fast as he does. But he has a much higher metabolism. Life is not fair, but he was the one with heart disease, arthritis, knee replacements, so he truly needed to lose. I just think he's funny, and I enjoy acting outraged at his fantastic weight loss. So, dear niece, if you're still awake after my reading this, I hope I have answered at least some of your topics. Want to chime in? What do you consider a healthy diet? A note from Robert K. The size of your success is measured by the strength of your desire, the size of your dream, and how you handle disappointment along the way. be afraid. Let God know what you feel, because He will give you peace in your heart and mind through Jesus Christ, His beloved Son. A heart to receive can change everything inside of me. With all that I am, I will believe I can become who you want me to be. You're always there, the power of prayer. Recently, in my devotions called Realism, I read this and wanted to share. Jesus said, "He that has seen me has seen the Father." Christ came to reveal to each one of us the God that nobody knew. There are the fiery gods of the pagans, demanding the sacrifices of children. There are the brooding gods of the Hindus, leaving man in a never-ending circle of searching, only to worship a cow. There are the capricious gods of the Greeks, who leave man in doubt and dismay at the unpredictable twists and turns of life. And of course, there is the angry God of Muslims, who evidently require that his devotees slay all infidels to prove their faith, and then kill themselves in an unholy, holy act to ensure themselves 70 virgins in heaven. By the way, did anyone ask the virgins how they feel about this? Is that heaven to them? And even the Christian faith is filled with mixed images and vain imaginations about the one true God, leaving most of us motivated out of guilt, shame, or fear. But God is love, and we need only look into the face of Jesus, and all our confusion about God is dispelled. So, now abides faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. For faith is power, hope is a promise, but love is a person. And once this person befriends you and walks with you day by day, your faith will soar to heights unknown, and your hope will be securely fixed like an anchor in heaven as you sail the high seas of this spinning world. Recently, I lost the ability to drain water from my kitchen sink. On a Saturday, of course. There are many things I can deal with. I can high-step it over mounds of the grandkids' toys, put off mopping the kitchen floor a day or two by not walking barefoot. But dishes? I can't bear them. They have to be done. I've even done dishes at midnight. Yes, I'm obsessive. Why? Why, everyone knows that bugs and vermin roam around outside just looking for a sink filled with dishes to feast on. So my sink draining dilemma was a real emergency, and it preyed on my mind. I'd have to wait, though, to visit the dollar store for those dish pans. I woke up at 6 a.m. The store wasn't even open till 8, but I got ready anyway. Who can sleep with dishes in the sink? It takes a few minutes for the hot water to reach my kitchen faucet, so I filled them in the bathtub, and I placed them on my towel-covered kitchen table. As I sank my hands into that warm, soapy water, a flood of memories filled my mind. As a child, we did the dishes in rotation. One would wash, one dry, and one put away. My favorite part was the washing. Standing there with my hands in water allowed me to think. Our home was an old farmhouse my father converted. He was continuously remodeling, adding rooms as he went to accommodate his growing family. He loved the pass-through window, so we had 2 of them in our tiny kitchen. You could see from one into the dining room and one into the living room. Our parents also built a bedroom off the eating area and my mother would watch her TV in that room while our father listened to his in the room we used as a living room. It was a very small house and a very noisy house. But somehow I was able to escape the TVs when my hands were immersed in that water. I remember standing there one day shortly after giving my life to Christ, being very unhappy. You see, I was a lousy Christian. I tried hard to live like Christ, but it seemed every day I messed up. My brothers and I had decided to go to church, and we took this bus for a long ride. The church we went to was across town and required transferring midway. But I was at the church our mother had gone to many years before she got married. While there, I had shared my newfound faith with the pastor. He happened to call me one night as I was doing those dishes, and I talked to him. I told the pastor that I was a miserable failure as a Christian. His answer to me impacted the rest of my life. Pastor Moen told me it was important to continue to read the Word, and that it was great that I was examining my life and seeing where I needed to grow and improve. He told me to worry when I didn't feel that way. A heart that is sensitive to God's voice will continue to grow and become more like Christ. When we no longer feel bad for the things we do wrong, then we should worry, because we have stopped growing. I am glad I have a dishwasher. I know that it is a great way to sanitize the dishes, and much faster than doing them by hand. But I doubt I will ever create memories using it. The plumber came, unclogged my sink, and it drains beautifully. But I have not been able to put the dish pans in storage. I have kept them in my sink, and I've decided to wash just the glasses and cups by hand. You see, they seem to sparkle brighter when I do. And it gives me just a little more time to think. I woke up one morning, and as I opened up the Word of God, it suddenly hit me. It is a privilege to serve God, a privilege. He loves us, and He desires to fellowship with us. How disappointed He must feel when we don't feel the same way. After all, His Word is food for our soul, and God is willing to spend time with us. In fact, He waits for us to spend time with Him. The Bible says in Isaiah 55:2, "Why do you spend money for what is not bread, and your wages for what does not satisfy? Listen carefully to me, and eat what is good. Delight yourself in abundance." Isaiah 25:6, "The Lord of hosts will prepare a lavish banquet for all His people on the mountain, a banquet of aged wine, choice pieces with marrow." I saw this table in my mind's heart, and the scene came to me. So I wrote down what I saw. Let me read it to you. I've entitled this, "The Word of God." Right this moment, a literal feast is spread out on the large ornate table. I excitedly gaze upon the delicate china and gold and silverware. There are so many chairs. I cannot possibly see the table's end. Every food imaginable has been set before me. I then realize this will be no ordinary celebration. The King will be here shortly. And as I wait for Him, He has carefully placed everything I could ever want, need, or desire here for me. And all I have to do is sit down and eat. I carefully pick up a cup, and its liquid is crystal clear. It is water, but it appears to be alive. It moves gently in the cup, and as I bring it to my lips, I realize that if I drink it, I will never thirst again. I slowly pull out a chair, and I take my seat. All this food is for me. I nibble slowly on a small piece of bread, and suddenly realize that I've never need to be hungry again. All I have to do is eat it. I can't wait. All I want to do is eat until I'm full, and this food will always be here waiting for me anytime I'm hungry. I need only eat it. But just then I hear voices calling. It is coming from outside the banquet hall. As much as I want to stay and eat, I feel an even greater urge to get up and leave. I know that the longer I eat, the more questions will be answered, the more peace I will feel. But the voices are calling louder now. I sadly get to my feet. I want to stay, but I decide to go. Perhaps I will eat another time. As I open the door to go, my eyes glance at the head of the table. It is the king. He has come to eat with me. I will be back soon, I softly whisper, as the door to the great banquet hall closes slowly behind me. Time to go. I hope something I have said has encouraged you, or perhaps made you laugh. In case you haven't visited my website, go to dearlanadee.com. That's dear, LANADEE.com, or write me at dearlanadee@gmail.com. You will be able to listen to any podcast you've missed there. Do you have a problem or situation you're going through, or a comment you'd like to make? Is there something you'd like to talk about? Then please do write me at dearlanadee@gmail.com. Until next podcast, I remain your friend, Lanadee.